Welcome to the podcast that discusses storytelling from all angles to help you and us answer the call when the muse screams, "Tell the damn story." We'll be exploring the challenges of being creative in fiction, illustration, comics, film, and nonfiction.
Oh, hey everybody, welcome to an episode, long overdue episode of Tell the Damn Story.
Damn story.
Right, and we can tell quite a few damn stories, and will. But this time, Tell the Damn Story was a show that was originally created by Tim Fielder. Say hi, Tim.
Hi.
There you go. And myself, Alex Simmons, and Chris Ryan. Chris Ryan. Chris is out there, and he's in some part of the United States at a film festival for a film that he worked on, that he also performed in. And I hate myself for not having the name of it in front of me. So somewhere during the course of this interview, I'll clean that up. But anyway, so tonight what I'm going to do is really interview Tim, because Tim, you've done a project. I mean, you and I did Blackjack together, but you got a huge portfolio of material that you did long before we ever worked together. And in particular, you have a project that you've been working on very faithfully for some time, and that you've just released the second issue of. So I want to really spend some time talking about that. And that project is Maddie's Rocket. So yes. First off, what is Maddie's Rocket? Let's get into that.
Yeah, Maddie's Rocket is my homage to the pilot Bessie Coleman and Harriet Tubman.
Wait a minute, Bessie Coleman. I know who that is. Who is Bessie Coleman?
Bessie Coleman was the first African-American woman with an international license of a plane pilot. She could not get her license in the United States, so she actually had to save money as a beautician, because she's from Texas, and she saved money in a beauty shop and paid to go to France to get her license. So she had a pilot there to teach her, because she could not get her license in the States at the time because it was, a racist environment, and, on top of that, her gender. So she did not take no for an answer and said, hey, I'm going to just do it anyway. So I wanted to take elements of Bessie Coleman, elements of Harriet Tubman, who we all know, was escorted many slaves out of.
I just threw up a picture of Bessie.
Yes, that's Bessie there.
That's Bessie right there. What year are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about the early 20th century, very early 20th century, 1900s. I know she was
20s or 30s, right? Is what you're talking about?
Yeah, boy, actually, we're talking about the 20s.
Yeah, 1920s, right? Like I said, 20s or 30s. I thought that was it. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, she passed away in real life because she was an acrobatic pilot. Because right then, at that time, commercial flight was not, a practical thing. So the way you made money was you were a barn burner. You were a
barnstormer, right?
Barnstormer. I'm sorry, I get the word wrong.
That's okay. And by the way, it was 1922.
Yeah, 1922. Yeah. So she was pretty incredible. In that she was very media savvy for the time. She was a very, very ambitious woman. She did not have a problem with going after what she wanted. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to take that character, who was kind of fearless and adventurous, and fuse that with someone who, like Harriet Tubman, who yes did what she had to do out of necessity for a moral cause, and then fuse that into the world of Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon. So that's what Maddie's Rocket is. That's why I have it set up there with the kind of retro feel. And we have 2 issues out and working on the 3rd one, which should be ready very soon. And we will be where we need to be very soon.
So that's the cover for issue number 1. That I have up there. When did that come out? Last year at the Schomburg?
Right. That came out last year, early 2015, and issue 2 came out in February of 2016. And issue 3 will be out probably sometime next month in May. the schedules that Maddie's Rocket. The first year we, was not consistent in terms of release because I had another project that I had promised someone I was going to finish called Blackjack. And so I had to make a decision. Do I keep working on Maddie's Rocket or do I fulfill, the promise that I made to you, Alex? And I decided, okay, let me get Blackjack done. So I put Maddie on the temporary back burner. And now we're full speed ahead. I mean, there's still a number of projects, that I'm working on, but Maddie's Rocket will be released every 4 months.
Well, we're gonna every 4 months. Okay, cool. We're gonna stay with Maddie the early days for a little bit longer because you know so much about it. I know quite a bit you've shared with me, but the audience may be totally clueless. So you talked about how what inspired you to create her in terms of the character of Bessie Coleman and her energy and her adventuresome nature and all of that, despite Jim Crow and everything else that was going on in the 1920s in terms of blacks or African Americans. And then you also talked about Harriet Tubman, and Lord knows we know what that poor woman went through and what she did, which was also incredible. Where is Maddie's Rocket set now? What's the world of Maddie's Rocket,
Well, if you take, because all worlds, when you're world building, you're taking either elements and that could to a larger or smaller extent of the real world, and you're trying to essentially make some sort of balance. So what I wanted to do, because my parents are in my dad is in his 80s, my mom in his late 70s, almost her 80s. And these folks never had that kind of material to look at like you and I did when we were little. We always had, Lieutenant Uhura, we
Star
had
Trek, yeah.
Star Trek, at least my generation for sure. We had Boomer, back when Boomer was black, so no Calrissian, so we had, even though we often got killed first or killed just before the credits rolled, we had black representations of ourselves in fantasy and science fiction, with that caveat that we would die,
Yeah, well, usually in the early part of the episodes, we wore a red shirt in Star Trek.
Right. So I wanted to do that story for them, for Maddie's Rocket from that time period that my parents were born in the 30s. And I wanted them to see that period in which they grew up, particularly being from down south from Mississippi. And I wanted to show the character. So I wanted to be able to juxtapose the cotton field with outer space.
Outer space adventure and planet hopping and all of that. Yeah, great.
Exactly. So I wanted to do that, and that's what the focus of Maddie's Rocket is, that, to deal with the Jim Crow environment, to deal with it honestly, but also to kind of balance it out with that kind of lighthearted adventure, very pulp. Maddie's Rocket will never get too totally dark. It will get a little dark, but it will never get totally dark because the audience that Maddie's Rocket is meant for is anyone between, I always say, if you can read it from between the age of 10 and 90. It's really a story for everyone, and it's adventure. So if you can get into Hunger Games, you can get into Raiders of the Lost Ark, you can get into Maddie's Rocket.
If you want to hear more about the show or any of us, go to tellthedamnstory.com.